Every single creative person, whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, face the same beast, the excuse. As an art teacher running concept art classes, I've seen all of the excuses, and they're always the same. So today, we're not just going to talk about those excuses, we're going to tear them down piece by piece, turning that feeling of I can't into a clear, actionable plan for how exactly you can overcome all of the most common excuses and finally get your art done. Because that's why we are here and that's why you clicked on this video. How many times have you heard these? Or let's be real. How many times have you said these to yourself? They feel like the ultimate roadblocks, don't they? I sometimes have these thoughts too, and they feel so real, and most of all, final, which is the worst part. But what if the story doesn't end there? 200 paintings. This is the number of paintings I made in a single year on my free time, all while working a full-time 9-to-5 office job with a really long commute as well. By the way, all these paintings are still on my Instagram, and you can check I actually did this. And yes, when you're doing that much art, all those thoughts do come up more than once, and the only way through is by having actual strategies for when they come. Okay, so let's start with the biggest one. The one that feels the most real to all of us, the myth of having no time. This right here forces us to make a huge change in how we make art. We have to forget about finding some magical 2-hour window in our day, because it's probably not going to just appear. I'm a full-time freelancer now, and even now, having a huge slot of time for just painting is not that common. And if I didn't find a workaround for this, no art would ever get done. These paintings would not exist. If you've ever seen me go live, I pretty much just go live whenever I have the time. I can't plan ahead when I have those slots. The real question we have to ask ourselves is this: is your love for creating bigger than your desire for these perfect long stretches of time that never seem to come? So if we let go of that one big session fantasy, and I know this might sound harsh, but it is a fantasy, we need a new method. And that method is making art in these little gaps in our day that do exist. If you look at your phone time, those hours came from somewhere. You decided to spend that on your phone. So the key here is to have a grab-and-go kit for your art. Now in practical terms, what I did is not realistic for everyone. I know this, but just to be as honest as possible, I think it's important that I share this as well. To me personally, and I'm not at all saying that everyone should do this, I carry my iPad, my full-size iPad with me everywhere. I don't have one of those iPad minis. I just have no trouble carrying my iPad everywhere I go. That is too much for most. I know that. But one thing absolutely everyone can do is make a grab-and-go kit for art. Think small, a tiny sketchbook, pocket-size art tools. And I do mean that literally, pocket size. You know how some self-sufficient bikepackers or ultra runners cut their own toothbrushes to make size and weight of their backpack smaller? That's the level of crazy detail I want you to go into with this. Make it a challenge. Basically, if it's too big not to be in your pocket all the time, then it's too big. When I was in school, my grab-and-go kit was actual watercolors. It's possible to have really good quality watercolors in a small foldable size, and then just a tiny bottle of water. The great thing with these tools is that you don't care about messing up as much with some pocket-sized tools. By embracing these limitations, you're suddenly ready to create absolutely everywhere, waiting in line for coffee or on your lunch break. So just like that, the entire world just became your studio, and it was there all along. As an extra bonus for your art materials, I recommend also constructing a cheap alternative to your grab-and-go art kit. My cheap mini art set is just a bunch of post-it notes and a marker. These are in my pocket always. Some of you might be inspired by having super fancy tools, but for me, starting with something that is basically just trash, that frees me up to create new ideas without feeling like I'm wasting expensive resources. Now, usually I try to avoid recommending people to buy expensive stuff on this channel, but I recommend trying both of these ideas to see what actually works for you. A fancy mini art kit and a cheap one, since even fancy art materials aren't that expensive in this scale we are talking about right here. Remember, wallet size. But okay, let's say that you do find the time, you do have the tools now, and then another excuse comes, like it's the truth. No ideas on what to do. We've all been here, and no matter how long you've been making art, this moment will happen at some point, sometimes multiple times during the week. I've been a concept artist for over 10 years, and even though the entire job is just idea generation, this affects me just as much as anybody else. You sit down, ready to create, and then you're just frozen. It's pure creative paralysis. You finally have a moment, you sit down with all of your stuff, and then you're just staring at a blank page, completely overwhelmed by infinite possibilities. Now imagine if this happened in my live streams. I would never be able to go live if I felt like this could take down my entire process when I start a live stream. The problem boils down to this one fact. Making decisions is hard, and the more of them you have to do, the more overwhelming they feel. Okay, so the solution is beautiful and it's totally counterintuitive. Creative constraint. Instead of facing endless options like every color in the world, any style you can imagine, which is just as paralyzing, right? You give yourself a simple rule. I'm only going to draw a single object from my kitchen. I'm only going to use black and white, and suddenly the path is clear. You know exactly where to start once you have set yourself up some creative boundaries. This channel has a membership that includes art assignments designed to teach art and learn new ways to express yourself. On our Discord, we share our work and I share brushes and palettes and tools I make for painting. For this video, I decided to make an exception and show the current art assignment to everyone here for free, because I really think these can help those who get stuck in this starting phase and they don't have an idea on what to do. I'm not going to talk through all of these because there are so many, but I am going to show them on screen, so you can screenshot these and store them on your phone. Now I know the real marketing way would be to get you to sign up on my email list or something, but I just wanted this part to be as hassle-free for you and honestly me as well. So here, take them, and if you have any questions, I can answer those in the comments below. These are all designed so that they teach specific art skills, but you can use as much time as you want on these same assignments as well. So your toolkit for fighting this is all about making decisions before you even start. And you don't have to rely on just my cues for these. You can build an idea bank in your phone's Notes app. So you're never starting from zero. You can always go there and just pick one of them like it's an art assignment. You can even use pre-made color palettes and limit yourself to those colors. The point is that you need to clearly define what done looks like for this thing that you're doing before you even start. The whole goal is to remove all those extra choices so you can focus on the one thing that actually matters, creating more art. Next up is the close cousin of decision fatigue, good old procrastination. And Lord knows that this is my problem as well. Luckily, I have now finished Monster Hunter, all of it, so I can get back to art. So I feel a little bit weird talking about this, but there are some ways that I can push myself to work whenever I feel like something else would be more fun to do. Let's reframe this entire procrastination thing for a second. It's usually not a lack of time, it's a lack of courage to start something that feels huge and intimidating. Because all creative fields are and will always be scary. Art is for the brave. I don't care what anybody says about getting over the scary part about art, but to me, that is the fun part. Art should be a little bit scary. You are doing something new every time, so it is a learning process, no matter how long you have been doing this. The very idea of a finished project can be so overwhelming that we don't start. We put it off, we'll literally do anything else instead. I know that when my deadline is closing, the house is so clean, the workroom is so clean that it looks nearly creepy. But you can fight that overwhelming feeling with a simple technique, the 15-minute rule. Here's how it works. You pick one tiny task, like sketch 3 thumbnails, and you set yourself a timer for just 15 minutes. Your only goal is to start. And here's the magic part. When that timer goes off, you have full permission to stop. That's it. The pressure is completely gone. It's not about finishing, it's about starting. This really requires a completely new way about thinking of making art. Think about the action, not the finished product. Now, I always say that progress is progress. You have to let go of the idea of a painting getting finished in one session. It's all about building momentum through these small, consistent efforts, not waiting around for one perfect moment. And while we've been so far focused on small, completable tasks, this exact same method is how I finish those long 40-hour-long paintings. In small chunks, one piece at a time. This window design was done on a post-it note on a bus. These houses were sketched while I was working washing dishes in a restaurant during my school years. The important thing here is that I didn't force myself to do these things. Art has always been my escape, the most fun thing that I could possibly spend my time on. One of the best descriptions for this kind of creative work is in Elizabeth Gilbert's book, Big Magic, where she wrote that you should treat your art projects like your lover. You will find small hidden moments throughout the day to spend with them, and you will yearn for them while they're unavailable. Finally, let's tackle a whole cluster of excuses that all come from the same place. I'm not inspired, or I'm not good enough. This is the motivation trap, really. This is the belief that we have to wait for all the conditions to be absolutely perfect before we can even start. The first step here is to redefine what motivation even is. It's not some magical lightning bolt that you have to sit around and wait for. No. Motivation is the reward you get for doing the work. It's not the thing you need to start. Action comes first. The feeling of motivation follows the action. Flow state is pretty much actual magic. Studies show that it actually decreases brain activity in the area where you perceive time passing by. Think about it. Flow state bends time, but it's not free. Don't expect that magic to come for free. You have to work to get there, and then you can enjoy it. So if we're not waiting for motivation, what are we doing? We are building a habit with all of these tools. This means you actually schedule your art time when that is a possibility. It means you lower the stakes by using cheap scrap materials, so you're not afraid to fail and waste materials. It also means identity. If you talk about yourself as a lazy hobbyist who would like to learn art someday, that's not just your current situation, that is also your future. You are an artist. I believe that you're an artist. And if you speak about yourself as an artist, you are driven towards actions that uphold that identity that you have of yourself. For an artist, adopting an iterative mindset where the goal is just about volume and exploration, not creating one single perfect masterpiece, that is their identity. Every action is just part of the way that you live now. And what about that little voice in my head that says that I'm not good enough? I have that too. Well, there's a really powerful way to reframe that feeling. Instead of comparing yourself to other artists, which just leads to envy and feeling awful, you study them. You shift your mindset from "I'll never be that good" to "okay, how did they achieve that effect?" It turns envy into your own personal education. Also, I think it's important to say out loud that don't hoard envy triggers. There are so many artists online that surely actually inspire you to take action. Follow ones that inspire you and clean up ones from your social media feed that trigger just negative envy emotions. Maybe you're ready to enjoy their work later, but if they make you feel worse about your art, then that moment has not yet arrived. Just be real and notice how you are feeling, what kind of actions you are taking when you are seeing art in your social media feed. Look, nobody asked me to make this video. There's no sponsor or product that I'm selling with this. But I've been teaching art and doing art streams here for so long that I know that these excuses really do hold back a lot of people who have so much to give through their art. So if you want to share this message, hit those like and subscribe buttons so this message can reach more people. Don't indulge your friends when they complain about these things, because that will just reinforce the idea that these excuses are real reasons not to make art. That's not helping, that's enabling. And maybe you can bring up some of these solutions when these complaints come up. Alright, we've dismantled the blocks one by one. Now let's pull all this together into a new productive creative lifestyle that you can start living right now. This all comes together in your new creative mantra. Just remember, action generates motivation, not the other way around. Progress is always better than perfection. Those little small gaps of time, they are your secret weapon. That's where your time is happening. That time is actually available for art. You have ideas. Maybe not in the moment, but define done before you start. Constraints actually fuel your creativity. And study other artists. Don't just compare yourself to them. Turn that envy into your education. Look, this isn't just a summary, it's a challenge. Every moment can be the start of a 15-minute rule. In fact, it's starting right now. So the only question left is this. You have 15 minutes. What are you going to create?